gotten to the last books, there's a little bit in there. I think those of you who have gotten to the last books will find far more of interest in that. It's a fairly innocent scene, but it was a very important one to write, and one that I sincerely enjoyed doing for this book. It's the last wound scene. Let's go ahead and do a few questions. And so we have the little microphone things up there, so whoever wants to ask one, let's get like 3 people in line, and we'll go, okay, there's 4. So we'll do these 4, 5, no more. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm just fine.
Wrong con.
Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you. This lovely woman was my minder at a recent con, and she has apparently taken that duty upon her even further. She always brought me water and throat lozenges, and now I have them again. That's awesome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, so, and by the way, thanks for coming rather than waiting in line for the firefighter panel. That was hard to follow anyway, so I'm sure you couldn't have gotten to that, but I do appreciate
You're better.
it. All right, first question.
Talk a little bit about your process of writing, and also about how you creatively approach it.
How I create what?
How you creatively approach it.
Creatively approach it. Okay. Every writer has a different process. There's as many ways to do this as there are writers in the world. For me, my creative process is I'm always searching for the ideas that I can connect into a larger story. I feel that a book is more than just one idea. A good book is a collection of ideas, usually a good idea for each character, something that forms the core of their conflict, several good ideas for the setting, something that's going to drive the economy, something that's going to drive, for me, the magic, the set, that sort of thing, and then several good plot ideas. These all bounce around in my head. I'll grab them randomly. An example of one of these was for Mistborn. Mistborn, one of the original seeds was I was watching the Harry Potter movies that had come out, and I was thinking about Lord of the Rings, which I just reread, and I was thinking, I like the hero's journey, young, plucky protagonist goes, collects a band of unlikely followers, defeats the Dark Lord, and then I thought, yeah, but those Dark Lords always get this terrible raw end of the deal. They're always beat by some doofusy kid or thing like that, and I thought, I want to write a book where the Dark Lord wins. But that was kind of a downer of the book, as I considered it. A little bit, you read this book and then at the end the hero loses. That's kind of a downer. And so I stuck that in the back of my mind, saying I want to do something with that idea, but it's going to take me a little while to figure out exactly what I want to do with that idea. And then I was watching one of my favorite movies from a long time ago. Well, these ideas came from movies. Many of them don't, but these 2 did. Sneakers, if any of you have seen it. Just an amazingly awesome heist story. And I thought, I haven't seen a heist story done in fantasy forever. Little I know that Scott Lynch was going to release one 1 year later. But nobody had done one. And so I said, I want to do a fantasy heist story. The 2 ideas combined together in my head. All right. World where the Dark Lord won. Hero failed. 1,000 years later, gang of thieves decide to rip the Dark Lord off and kind of try to overthrow him their way, making themselves rich. And those ideas combine together. And so a story grows in my mind like little atoms bouncing together and forming a molecule. They'll stick to each other and make something different. Those 2 ideas combined and made a better idea, in my opinion, together. And then, character ideas I've been working on stuck to that. And magic systems I'd actually been working on separately. Alan Nancy and Farrah coming to the magic systems in Mistborn were actually designed for different worlds. And then I combined them together, and they worked really well together, with the metals being a common theme. And so I did all of that. When it comes time to write a book, I sit down and I put this all on a page, and then I start filling in holes by brainstorming. What would go well here? What would go well here? I need more here. And I fill out my outline that way. I fill out my world guide, as I call it. I actually just got the wonderful folks at Camtasia, it's a software that records screens, sent me a copy of their software so that I can record a short story. And I'll do the outline, and then I'll do the story, and then I'll post it on my website, and you can see exactly, step by step what happens. Just don't make too much fun of me when I spell things wrong. It's really weird when you've got that screen capture going on. People are going to be watching this, and you can't spell a word. And it's like, I don't want to go look it up. I can get this right. It's like, the writerly version of the guy who refuses to go get directions. And so I try the word 17 different ways. And I'm like, okay, and then Google tells me in like 10 seconds. So, anyway, that's your answer. I hope that works for you. Thanks for asking.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say I love reading the annotations and kind of finding out what was going on in your mind and kind of behind the scenes, like the director's commentary. So thank you for doing those. And my question is, I've noticed in a lot of the books, Mistborn, Warbreaker, even Elantris, that the characters are working so hard towards a goal, and then once they get it or when they get close, all of a sudden they realize that it's doing the complete opposite of what they were expecting, or just was kind of, distraction for them or whatever. So my question is that just a good way to kind of throw in a plot twist that's unexpected, or is that a reflection of kind of how you see what our lives and what we're doing, or something else?
I would say it's both of those things, very certainly. I was going to say, as you're saying that's just how life is. But plot-wise, plot twists are tough because, okay, how should I say? Bad plot twists are easy, right? You can just do anything. You can be like, all right, and then ninjas attack. This is a Regency romance. I don't know where those ninjas came from. That's actually a story. You read that. Bad plot twists are easy. Good plot twists. I use a phrase that they use in Hollywood, which is it's surprising yet inevitable. This is an age-old term in Hollywood where you want it when it happens, everyone to be surprised, and yet as it happens, then to say, "Oh, I should have seen that coming." Those are the best plot twists. You can't always pull those off. They're really hard, but when you can, they're great, and that's what I'm shooting for. I don't necessarily twist my plot just to twist my plot. I try to find a story that is engaging and interesting. And then the further we go along in it, the more you learn about the characters, the world, and what's actually going on, and hopefully that reveals a hidden depth. Because, it's like life. Everyone that you meet, you're going to make a snap judgment on them. The longer you know them, the more depth you will see to this person. I want you to have that feeling about a book. You'll make a snap judgment. Okay, this is an action-adventure story. You'll read it more, and hopefully you'll start to see those levels of world building, the hidden depth of the characters, the things you can't get across in one page. That's why I like writing big epic fantasies, because it gives me a lot of time to explore all that depth. And I do the same thing with the plot. Everything is about more than one thing. And I think that just makes for interesting stories that I like to read.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Raymond. Real quick, the Mistborn movie and game, how involved are you in the game, or are you getting to points in each of those that you'll be able to contribute, or are they just going to have you take a step back?
Good question, good question. So far, I've been very involved in both. Now, movies being what movies are, if we sell the movie to a studio, who knows at that point what will happen? All bets are off, right? The people I sold it to were big fans. Like, actually big fans. Not the type of big fans in Hollywood that have heard of your name, so they're a big fan. Like, actual, serious, legitimate big fans. They did 6 drafts of the screenplay. They were serious about this. And the screenplay is awesome. I have read it. I really like it. It does tweak a few things that make the screenplay really cool. Like, it focuses more on Vin and Reem. It kind of leads with that relationship a little bit more. Stuff like that that works very well cinematically. It's very faithful to the book, and it's an awesome time. Who knows what will happen? We really want to be able to sell this to a studio. What happened is I sold it to independent producers, and what normally they're gonna have to find funding. That's what happens with producers, unless they're George Lucas or something like that. So we're still shopping it. The screenplay is awesome. So anyone, if your uncle is happens to be Joss Whedon, come talk to me. I'll find a notebook for you, I promise. As for the video game guys, I'm actually having dinner with them tomorrow night. They're cool. They're a bunch of guys from Interplay are involved in this. And the games they've made so far with their new company are all kind of like, how should we say, safe money makers. Okay. And the reason they came to me is they had built their company, it's solid, they've got the safe money makers, they're doing like DDR games and things like that, and they said to me, we want to go and make a big, just cool fantasy story because we're kind of getting bored of all this stuff. And not that it's bad, they're great games they make, but you know what I mean. I'm writing the script for it. The dialogue of the game will be mine. They actually asked me what type of game I wanted to make. I told them some games that I thought would work really well, and then they have built an engine and everything to do that. It's looking really good. For those who are curious, it's going to be cross-platform. Should be fall 2013. It's going to be an action RPG, and kind of a, I mean, it probably won't be as open world as this, but Infamous was one of the examples I gave them as something I thought that would really match Mistborn. I don't think we have the budget to do just the huge open-endedness of something like that, but that's okay because I can write a really solid story, and it should have gameplay that's going to be really fun. Demon Souls was another one I gave them, kind of on the other side of, of how a combat system I really like works. So that's the sort of game we're shooting for. RPG-ish, a little bit like Demon Souls, but more of the kind of free-form gameplay of Infamous.
Now, is the game going to be a standalone in the movie?
The game is going to be a standalone. They may do sequels, but right now we're just going to get one out there. It is set about 250 years after the start of the Final Empire. Stars a new character who I'm